All right, we're live.
John, I might seem a little anxious tonight. Right now, my Parkinson's is spasming, so I may be doing some shucking and jiving. But
it's okay, man. You look great. You look really young and really happy. I mean it.
Thank you.
Yeah, clean shaven. I love your shirt, man.
You're
good. You're a good balance for me. And I'm so pumped that Tiffany's here.
I am too. It's like
I have so many funny moments with her. I feel like she gets me like on stage, like lets me be myself.
I remember when we did the Queen song at the end of one of the shows last year. Yeah. That was fun with me, you, and Sky. Bohemian Rhapsody, that's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Enver thank you, Enver, for the share.
John Keats right there, where you're looking right now. Do you have any viewers? Is it YouTube/earproud?
I think you just go to the Earproud Facebook page, right?
That's what I'm doing, yes. Yeah. Earproud Facebook page. Alfred.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's watching. Because I'm marked. There's two people, and I'm one of them. And
Enver's the other one. It might be logging into one of my business. It's up to you. It's okay if no one watches. Like, I would like to release this as just like an audio little podcast, and then it's good for us to hang out. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? Alfred has friends in Israel. Send it to your Israel friends.
I have friends in West Virginia.
You? Once I take off my shirt, I'll tell you. Remember when I took off my shirt in my debate against Angel?
Oh.
It wasn't really a debate now, was it?
No, so Matt, I completely ad-libbed what was it called when I went against Angel? I completely ad-libbed the whole thing. Improv it. Nobody's watching. Sad face.
I gave my cats a superhero team name.
What's that?
They're Cat 5, as in Category 5 Hurricane.
Oh.
Cat 5. Is that 5 cats? Got a new show coming out called Cat Tornado. Saw a poster for it and everything.
Alfred, did you try to quit drinking multiple times on your own? And you knew in your head, like before the first time you ever walked into AA, like we know for a long time, like we want to stop.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't just that day. I always stopped today. It was years.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
First time I had a inkling of swapping, a guy got my Bible study group in Missouri. He sailed. He was a surgeon and he sailed. And he said, "Yeah, so that's good for you." Sounds like a riding danger. That's good for you, though, but not for me.
Did you know, Tiffany, for a long time that you wanted to stop drinking? Like in your head, did you battle with some things? Like, you know what I mean? For days?
I did the whole denial.
Yeah.
Save it for the show. We got 2 minutes left to go.
They're just kind of getting warmed up.
Get yourself warmed up, John. You're gonna be awesome.
If I take off my shirt. I'm like, you know what I did? I drank believe. Put my pinky in the windowsill. Open up a different show.
So, the guy who lives above me right now is blasting "I Ran So Far Away" by Flock of Seagulls.
Oh, nice.
Like, shut up. I'm trying to do a stupid live stream, man. Come on.
Is that guy Bobby Mercer?
No.
Would it be funny if Bobby has like a separate Twitter and he's like, my stupid roommate friend Matt is doing a live show. And him and I.
Shut up, Mom. I'm trying to do a live stream.
Shut up, Mom. Your mom's bringing you in like pizza. You're like, Mom, shut up.
We got Bobby's Call of Duty coming out of my left ear, and my upstairs neighbor's "I Ran So Far Away" coming out of my right.
I'm like, Matt, we should move in with your mom. Oh, this music. I feel like I'm in my therapist's office and I was in 7th grade.
I think I'm in any therapy after listening to this for much longer. No, it's good. It's catchy.
Damn, I can't hear Tiffany.
I can't either.
Matt, why can't I hear Tiffany?
He's AFK.
All right. You ready, John?
Matt, why couldn't I hear Tiffany?
Talk again, Tiffany. Can't hear you, Tiffany.
Tiffany, bye-bye.
What?
Can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on and off.
Because your music's happening.
Oh. That's probably it. All right. Here we go. You ready, John?
Yeah. Any viewers?
Coming to you all the way from Norfolk, Virginia, Go On Productions presents Sober Saturdays with your host, John Regan Wharton.
Oh my gosh. Mom, I made it. I'm on Facebook live on the Saturday. Oh man. Sober Saturdays. Hey, thank you for tuning in. I'm here with some of my best friends. I used to hate the word sober. I mean, like, I would like cringe, like it's like anchovies or something. But it's fun just to kind of celebrate, just being silly and just being genuine. and I'm here with some of my really good friends, Tiffany from Ghent, Norfolk, Virginia. How are you doing tonight, Tiffany?
I'm doing really, really well. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I've known Tiffany for a couple years. We've done some really cool things on stage. We've done some writing together, singing, some creative stuff, and just excited to get back together with her today. And also my really good friend, Alfred Crane. How are you doing, Alfred?
Doing extremely well, John. And you, my friend?
I am doing, that was super formal. I am doing very well, fine sir. Alfred and I have known each other like 15 years, 12 days, and 18 hours.
That's right. Sounds about right.
Yes.
My water clock.
What's that picture behind you, Alfred? Is that a magic eye picture?
My friend, Dan, he's an artist. He used to live in Virginia Beach, and he painted it's like some kind of a flower, but the color is really attractive to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome picture. Well, the purpose of tonight's show is so all of us choose not to drink alcohol anymore, a day at a time, and all of us have made it years, and it's kind of crazy because I used to drink every day and enjoyed drinking, and that was the way I would celebrate joy. That's the way sometimes if I was sad, I would use it as a pick-me-up. I would maybe just use it as a social lubricant. It was just easy to do for like a first date, a baseball game, maybe in my car after I was done delivering newspapers. It was just, easy to drink, and it's socially acceptable. But all of us choose not to drink anymore. And we hid it when we drank. And sometimes in the early stages, you hide it when you give up drinking because you're kind of afraid, like, who you are, will people accept you? I don't know. Are you comfortable talking about that, Tiffany? Like in the early days when you stopped drinking, how you felt? Did you hide things?
Sure, yeah. I definitely hid things because at that time, I mean, my whole life was revolved around drinking. I were hanging out with friends. It was friends plus drinking. If I were going somewhere alone, I was going to be alone, but I was drinking. And so all of a sudden I uprooted my life in a sense, and I didn't know how, I barely knew how to deal with it. So I didn't know how anybody else would. So I would go to meetings far, far away. And that whole thing, the pressure of all that was difficult. And I started finding other outlets to kind of help me along. And one of the things that I discovered pretty early on, thank goodness, is that, well, one of the things I consume the most right now, except for alcohol, is social media. And if I'm just going to be scrolling through social media and seeing people partying and doing whatnot, that's not going to help me. So I made a separate Instagram account, and you could do this with like TikTok or Facebook or whatever. I mean, and I've just followed sober people, and I discovered an entire community of sober people. And I found inspiration from celebrities that were sober and people in this area that were sober. I ended up joining like an email chat group with a bunch of British people. It just happened to be, they all were from England, but we had this really great email chat thing, and we kept up with each other in the early months. So a lot of my early stages of sobriety were private. I mean,
and that gives you confidence once you start to connect with people that aren't drinking, and you're like, oh, they might be kind of cool, or they're laughing, or they're doing normal things. What was your drink of choice? Like if you walked into a bar and you had a little bit of money, and then what was your drink of choice if you were like by yourself?
It would be the same version of a glass of red wine, a beer, and a shot of bourbon. Nice. But the amount of money I had determined the quality of the three. But I always had all three because I was the worst.
So I was, as you guys know me, like I'm sometimes someone that does too much or has like a coffee and a Diet Coke in my hand. So the same thing, like I wasn't a Jack Daniels guy. I liked Jim Beam. So like shots of Jim Beam. I did like to have like good beers, but I would drink like a warm light beer. I liked cheap red wine, and then I liked to cut Jim Beam with ginger ale, ice, Coke. But I also would drink really fast. I was into Jägermeister for a while. I would drink really fast. And sometimes I would get sick, or maybe I'd just go outside and throw up and then come back inside, rinse my mouth out with water, and just continue drinking and just accepted it. But I was very fast when I drank. And then maybe when I was like 26, 27, 28 is when I stopped. I stopped enjoying it. It was bothering my stomach, giving me anxiety, and really having the opposite effect. But I kept doing it. It was tough,
That reminded us very kindly to remind people that this is a call-in show. If you wanted to talk more about that too.
Yes, this is a call-in show. You can call in and ask us anything. You can chat in. You can just listen. And as Alfred had a really good idea today, you could send us a message. We can get coffee or talk at another time. How about you, Alfred? Like you went through like the Marine Reserves, and then you like lived in some different areas, and then when you were younger, and what was your drink of choice?
It usually involved whiskey and beer.
At the same
whiskey
time?
and beer. Yeah, usually I'd get home from work and have a shot and then a beer, and then go for hours drinking, and usually whatever hard liquor I would drink it until I threw it up, and then it would go on the shelf. And then like I think I finally worked my way back to vodka, but that was only under extreme circumstances. But
And you were a heavy smoker too, cigarettes.
Yes.
Yeah.
One time my lungs I was coughing up blood, and I said, I better quit smoking. And then I had like stomach problems, but I didn't think I should quit drinking.
Yeah. I remember too, I'd have stomach problems, and like friends of mine would be like, well, maybe you shouldn't be drinking. Oh, my stomach. And they'd be like, maybe you shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah, I was totally aware of my liver. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a lot of stomach problems, and I would get sick in public at a lot of places, like baseball games, concerts. I just kind of accepted it as part of okay, in the next 3 hours, I'm going to get sick, but then I'm going to have an awesome 3 hours.
I threw up so much I got the nickname of Ralfred, so. My friends were, luckily one time I landed at the airport just in time because they had their welcoming sign before I get off the plane with a group that said Ralfred on it. So I was getting off the plane and get my luggage, and Ralfred! So I was like, whoo, dodged that one.
What did you talk to anyone about it, Tiffany, when you wanted to stop drinking, or did you even become like more solo and into, do you know what I mean? Like it's such a personal.
I at that point, the people that were closest to me were definitely getting affected. Like I think my parents were going to like Al-Anon, and
Okay.
I would not accept it until one day I was at this point like just the driest skin and just red and splotchy and just beer belly. I just remember it was winter, and I mean, not to like TMI, but like naked and shaking. But I smoked cigarettes at the time too, and really wanted to smoke a cigarette. So I was right at the door to like my patio, but I didn't want to go outside because it was too cold. So I was just sitting there like just pathetic and miserable, and just like, oh, this is rock bottom. Got it. And that was just the moment where I was like, I had an open beer or part of a bottle of wine or something next to my bed still, and I chugged it because at that point I had the withdrawals that were so bad that like I had to wake up and drink pretty much. And then I think I called my boss at the time and told him, I don't know why. I don't know why I did, but I just blurted it out that I have a drinking problem and I need to take some time off of work. And he was just like, cool, thank you for telling me, go for it. And
did they act surprised? Like sometimes it's kind of weird when people close to us don't act surprised. Or did he act surprised?
He just acted supportive. I don't think he knew as much as, I don't know, maybe he did, but he didn't linger on that, thank goodness. This
could just turn into storytelling, but maybe it's good to share. Like it makes me think of two things. I remember one time, like on a weeknight, driving in Pennsylvania and hitting a deer on the way to a restaurant, stopping, just being like, making it to the brewery, drinking with my friends, then like dropping my car insurance like 2 days later because I was like, oh, I can save $77 a month if I get rid of my car insurance. Like going through these weird periods of my life, like, oh, I hit this deer, but I won't tell anyone. I got to make it to the bar. Maybe I'll look into dropping my car insurance to save money. Like, oh, if I drink coffee and bourbon, then it's just caffeine, and like going through these weird things in my head, thinking like, oh, do I really need a license to drive a car? Like, how many times do you really get pulled over? I don't need a license, and I just don't want any of those fears anymore. So when I drank, I got very spontaneous, very spontaneous. How about you, Alfred? In the early days, what made you, because we think about it for a while, that Tiffany shared that story. What made you decide to stop?
I was getting really tired of it. I mean, I was getting very depressed and anxious, and having terrible nightmares, and just couldn't stop. I mean, I had a couple friends living around here, but work, I didn't hang out with many people there. I'd just go home and drink. And in Missouri, I had a friend who drank like I did, and we'd hang out, and we had it was good because we worked on the same projects at work and became good friends. But then it seems like when you move away and the drink's taken away, it just seems like, what was really the friendship, We were good friends.
When you said drink like I did, can you relate to that, Tiffany? Like there's a point where it clicks where you're like, oh, I drink differently than other people. And then sometimes you can pick them out in a social setting, like who you vibe with and drink with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a bar that I went to all day long because I would go there before work, or I would go there during a break. I would go there after work, and it was just people that were just like me that did the same thing. And like, I mean, but the reason I went there is because that was where the alcoholics went. That's where the people that hid their day drinking went. It was the only place I felt like I wasn't getting judged by what I knew was an extremely unhealthy habit. I mean, everybody's rock bottoms look different, but for me, I was literally drinking all day because I had to. I didn't know how else to live. I mean,
it works for a while, and then it just stops working. Yeah. But it's so hard to stop because you're putting it in your body. Someone just wrote in about fear, like not having fear anymore. We talked about anxiety. Oh, I definitely lived in fear and hit it with humor and like trying to catch a buzz. But I can still get anxious, but I can recognize some of those triggers. I would say I don't live in fear anymore. And I would say I'm happy, generally happy, and I don't live in fear. But before I had a lot of anxiety. How about you, Alfred?
Well, fear still comes up, but I don't have to drink to sedate it now. I have tools I can use that people shared with me that I can use to deal with the fear instead of going to sedate it with a drink or.
Speak up a little bit.
Oh, I don't have to drink. I don't have to drink to treat my fear anymore.
Yeah,
I have tools that I use that combat that. But before, if I was afraid, I go right to a beer because I wanted to obliterate it as fast as I could, so I didn't have to deal with it. One of my favorite sayings was, "I don't want to deal with it right now, or I'll deal with it tomorrow."
What's the acronym for fear? Sometimes we say
false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Or face everything, or fuck everything and run.
Is someone calling in?
Hello.
Hey, hello. This
Hello.
is John.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
This is Eva.
Oh, hey, Eva.
Hey. So I wanted to ask y'all about what kind of activities you do when you get bored, because I know I tend to drink when I'm bored or like there's nothing going on tonight, So
That's good.
I'll take my answer off the air. Thank you.
That's a really good question. So go ahead. If you have something on your mind, Tiffany and Alfred, then I'll take it from there.
That's a great question. And that was one of the things that I was most worried about when I stopped drinking. I was like, what in the world am I going to do with my life? Because literally all I ever did was that. I was in bars, whatever. So I think in the early stages, it's definitely important to stay busy. I don't know if y'all would agree with that, but at the time, I basically replaced my time with alcohol with studying. I started studying to become a teacher. It was like a rapid education thing, so that helped. And I do everything now. It's funny because you think that you need alcohol to get to do things. You feel like you need it to help you do things. And then the irony of all that is that I was actually not doing so many of my passions because I was spending all my time drinking. So now I keep looking this way because in my apartment, I'm looking at like a whole, like I have like an art trunk out, and I started learning piano kind of, and I started doing improv, and I just started exploring just various avenues of things to do. And
you're not done yet.
I'm not done yet. Yeah. So I do whatever the hell I want,
with no fear, really.
Yeah.
So it's okay to try new things, and who cares if we fail?
Right.
Yeah.
And who cares if you don't end up liking it? It's just try something else.
Do you feel younger, Tiffany?
Yeah. And I look younger. Oh God. Like I was saying, I mean, not that that's the most important thing, but physically speaking, my skin was horrible. I was just like dry and splotchy, and my nose got really big and red. And like I said, like I was extremely aware of my liver, and I just, yeah.
What about you, Alfred? Then I'll go next about board,
I drank at home pretty much the whole time, the last several years of my drinking. So for me, it wasn't good for me to be in the house. So I went to a lot of 12-step meetings, and I got really involved with that. I would go to several meetings a week, and I made new friends there. And because one of my big things was I was lonely. I didn't have a community of people, and I met a lot of fine people that we helped each other through those. And then several years later, I was sharing at a group in Norfolk, and someone said they recommended I take a class at Push Comedy Theater, and it took me 2 years to go there and do that. So that's become like a second community. I mean, having a place where I belong to and can contribute to, and then having like a place where it's like when I fail, when I'm by myself and my own worst critic, and I'll never get it right. But when you're with friends and you fail, people are there to lift you up, and they can encourage you to try again, and then you get it.
And Alfred, you do so much now people don't even probably know about. You have a podcast about movies, you paint figurines, you do models. You told me you were talking to people in Israel today.
Yes, I've been during the quarantine. It was like we couldn't go to meetings, so a lot of meetings went to Zoom, and I have insomnia a lot, and then I saw this meeting in Israel, then I started going there regularly, 1 a.m, and I made you show up consistently to places, no matter here or wherever, and you make friends. And I made several friends over there, and it's like a part of my life now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if anyone's listening, they can call in, they can send in messages. I guess I'll answer as well. I'll probably jump around a little bit, but so I can remember, it's been a while since I drank, but I can remember drinking and hanging out with people being like, oh, I'm so bored, and oh, let's drink or get high. And if I think about it, that was maybe a trigger. So things for me that would be triggers would be like heyday, 3-day weekends, getting my stimulus check, maybe a concert or event going on. But being bored, yeah, I want to, just like my hero Sherlock Holmes, I want to change my state of mind, so I want to quickly change my feelings. But it stopped working for me. So like the alcohol just stopped working. Now I really don't get bored. I'm busy. Like I started like a plant business. I've done all sorts of things. I've, comedy. I like my job. So I've had the same job since I've gotten sober, but my attitude towards it has changed, and I've been able to create things there. And I don't have a lot of fear, so I just try new things. Like I just try new things. I try cooking. I try new things. I would say I really don't get bored, and I'm able to catch myself a lot earlier. But I try to stimulate my mind with different things. Reading, walking, just trying new things. But also, I call people a lot, or I email or write a lot of people. So if Eva's still listening, so say I write someone a letter, and then maybe like 8 days later I get a letter, or 15 days later I get a letter. So I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. So I try to put a lot of footwork like that. Go ahead, Alfred.
I wanted to throw in one thing that was huge for me was getting out and walking. Getting out in the sun is huge. One of the hugest things for me. If I don't know what to do, I can just go for a walk and then I clear my head and stuff.
And Tiffany, you have some creative activities. You play guitar. I mean, you have your cats. You paint. You try out for things.
Yeah, I like I said, it's funny. This is in retrospect funny because I don't recognize now. Almost, it'll be like 3 years in December. I don't recognize the person that I was when I drank, but then I was like, I didn't see myself being someone that had all of these hobbies. Like I was like, I'm not this hobby person. Like I'm interested in things, but I wasn't actively doing any of them. And now it's funny how much I've changed for the better and in ways that I didn't know. So it's important to know how different your mindset is once you get through those early stages.
Yeah, I'm not the same. Like I'm still the same John, but I'm not the same John. Like I never would have started a plant business. I never would have did stand-up comedy. I never would have done all the creative things I've done here. And I'm still not done. I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
That's stuff drunk Alfred would want to do, but he would never have the courage to do it. And then I would drink, miss the mark, and what's the use anyhow?
Yep. I don't want to be sitting on a bar stool anymore, just kind of like talking about those things.
Talking about what I want to do. Now I can actually talk about what I've done or what I am doing.
Hey, super producer Matt, what is our number that someone wants to call? I'm getting a private Facebook message asking about the number. I need to look it up here if someone has it handy.
But I can say it out loud if you'd like. It is 1917 426.
Okay.
6794.
6794. Okay, let's see. Boy, it's a long number. Boy, that's a long. Oh my goodness.
One of the things you talk about not being able to see you change. Like when I was towards the end of my drinking, we had video teleconferences at work, and I could not stand who I saw on the television screen, and I would make sure the camera was off me. And now I'm on Zoom all the time, and I don't care.
Yeah. We get another call.
This is Gary, John.
Hey Gary, thanks so much for calling, man.
Thanks for being there.
Oh, I've known Gary a long time, and we just reconnected again like last week. He came to look at doing a painting and flooring project for me, and then we've pretty much talked every day since then.
Yeah, I was hesitant on calling in because I'm watching on my phone, so I was really enjoying what y'all were having to say. But
that's okay. I won't put you on the spot, but I am going to put you on the spot because you know how important it is. Are you comfortable saying where you are now or where you were yesterday?
Oh yeah, I don't have no problem talking about everything. After I went and seen John, I took a trip up to Philly, and I'm a binge drinker. I've had several periods of time sober. I'm 46. I have 3 grown kids, and I've had several times of of soberness, whether it be 2 years, 1 year, 9 months, 6 months, but it keeps diminishing the amount of time the older I get in between binges. And I've had pancreatitis, I've got cirrhosis now, and the trip to Philly, I tried to drink like I used to drink, a fish, and a bottle of cheap vodka in one hand and a beer in the other, and I tell you, the little amount of time that I was gone those few days, when I came home, I tried to stop, and I was going through DTs and withdrawals, and I'm the kind of drinker that when I'm on a binge, there's a bottle next to my bed. I wake up in the middle of the night, that's what I drink. I get up in the morning, I try to drink a little bit of water. I heat that back up, but they came out with real neat ways to hide your alcohol nowadays, or so you think you are. These little cans that they sell of malt liquor called club tails and stuff like that, and it's become a all day thing. And I used to be able to function pretty well and still do my craft, but I've realized now that I can't anymore. So when we got back from Philly, I tried to stop, and I went for a day without any alcohol, and I was dying. And I tried to go to work, and I turned around, went back home. The next day, which was Tuesday, same thing. I tried to go. I turned back around, and my boss had told me if I ever need anything, because he can tell. I've known him over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And he said if I needed anything, if I needed him to go to a meeting with me, if I needed anything, he'd be there for me. And about 3:00 Tuesday afternoon, I was out of toilet paper, and I didn't have any alcohol, and I didn't have any money. I went in my change can, and I found enough money to get either a can of alcohol or a roll of toilet paper.
What'd you get?
And I got the alcohol. And, hey, prayed to God I didn't have to go to the bathroom.
But where did you end up? It's for Saturday. Where did you end up after that? Tell us.
Okay, well, that can of alcohol kind of steadied me out a little bit, and it gave me enough because I was violently shaking, heaving. I mean, my neighbors must think I'm over here killing somebody. And so I called my boss, and I said, hey, remember you told me to do anything for me? He said, yeah. I said, I need that favor. He said, what do you need? I said, I need a ride to the hospital. He said, you need to go right now? I said, if you're busy right now. He said, no, send me your address. I'm on my way. And he come and got me, and he insisted on going into the emergency room with me, which I didn't, I was like, it's COVID time. Don't go in here. And he said, no, I'm going in to make sure you get in there all right. He said, you want me to get you a wheelchair? I mean, I was having a hard time even holding myself up. And this is 2 days after drinking. I mean, this is like withdrawal. And I knew if I would have got me more alcohol, I would have straightened up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But as soon as that wore off, I would have been right in the same spot. So, they got the little pencils at the counter and a little piece of paper for you to write your name and your social and your birthday. And the lady's like, go ahead and write that. He's like, I don't know if he can. And she didn't hear him. So I said, I can do it. So I go to grab the pencil out of the little cup of pencils. I almost knock them all over. I go to start trying to write my name, and it looks like, I'm in kindergarten. So he's like, give me that pencil. So he filled it out for me. But make a long story short, I ended up in the ICU step-down unit on Tuesday, and I got out of there yesterday afternoon and went to the regular floor after, of course, constant IVs and
Are you still at the hospital
Ativan.
now?
What's that?
Are you still at the hospital now?
No, after all, they gave me Ativan, magnesium, potassium, because everything was depleted.
Yeah.
And my liver doesn't process alcohol, doesn't process anything the way it used to. And they had me on the heart monitor and all that. But so this afternoon at probably, I don't know, 2:00, I was finally released from the hospital. And I was scared to be released. I wasn't even like trying to get ready. And I've been trying to get a hold of the VA to find a program to where I can still go to work and maybe check in somewhere at night for, breathalyzer meetings, whatever, and be held accountable that way.
Hey, Gary. I've known you a while, and like I'm not embarrassed to ask you this, and like I've been sober a while. Like, why do you drink? Like I just saw you a couple of days ago, then you went up to Philly. Like I know why you do, and you know why you do. But say, like, why? Why? I mean, that wasn't fun drinking.
I think, well, it's like you said, John. In the beginning of drinking, I started as a teenager. It was what, if you want to call it, a family tradition or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it was fun in the beginning. It works.
Yeah, and then, but this past year I've been single. My fiance left me a year ago because of the drinking, and she just couldn't handle the spells anymore of drinking, and I think a lot of it of my drinking personally is out of depression, which it takes my mind off of it for a minute. But then the next thing you know, I'm dwelling on the things that make me depressed, and then drinking more, thinking it's going to go away, and it doesn't.
Yep.
I can remember the first time I met you in Ghent, and we've stayed in contact since then. So I think there's a reason for us connected, and here we're still talking today. It's funny. We've been messaging a little bit every day. So you've been telling me a little bit over Facebook your story, and I'm glad you called.
Yeah, well, I appreciate y'all being there for me to call in. And that's my biggest problem is, like, I'll go to AA for a little bit and then I'll stop and I'll be like, oh, I'm good now. I need to get involved with more people that are sober and do things sober. And I'm always shy and embarrassed to do that because being the new kid on the block, I just feel like I might be judged like, oh, he's only got a week sober. But listening to y'all talk on here and everything, I know it's not that way. That's my excuse.
Yeah, well, Alfred and I will definitely stay in touch with you. You're okay if I friend you guys, Alfred? Alfred's been around a long time.
Perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Also,
absolutely.
I want to say, I think it's the fact that you are strong enough to admit this and want to change during the middle of a pandemic is like, I'm hella impressed. I just gotta say. I mean, I can't even. I mean, it just proves how strong your character is, and
I know you want it, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
I'm really happy.
I've got a granddaughter coming in 20 days too.
What's that?
The doctors keep telling me that I'm not going to live. One of these times, I've been to the hospital 6 times this year. This is my 6th time. And each time they keep me, except for the last time, which was only a month ago. I just told them, I said, give me a prescription for Ativan, send me home. I can do this. Because I used to be able to, but I can't anymore. So
what do we say, Alfred? You're not alone and you can't do it alone. Did you have something else you wanted to say, Tiffany?
I was just going to thank you, Gary, for mentioning that, or just mentioning how it's related to your mental health. And exactly. I mean, I drank because of depression. I drank because it was always to cope with feelings I didn't want to feel. And since I stopped drinking, I've gotten to know myself, and I'm not saying that depression goes away, but it's a lot more manageable when you're not also adding the highs and lows of withdrawal and alcohol and its effects on your daily life and the mistakes you make because of it. It'll do wonders for your mental health. Just throwing that out there.
Well, hey guys, I appreciate y'all so much, and I want to get off here and give somebody else a chance and to hear more of what y'all got to say. And I would love to keep in touch with y'all, and I definitely want to become part of your group of people that are sober and finding things to do.
Definitely. You bring up a good point, Gary. I had a friend, he was trying to get sober on his own. He died detoxing himself. He died on the way to the ER. And I think one of the big things with this is being put on me to say it is, if you're having problems and you're having shakes and you're trying to quit, please go to the emergency room and get checked out.
And Alfred, the intake nurse, the triage nurse, they always treat me so well. And I'm embarrassed when I go, but they're like, no, don't be. They said, you can die from alcohol withdrawal. They said, you can't die from, and I don't know if this is true, and I don't want to offend anybody, but they say you can't, she told me you can't die from heroin withdrawal. You'll feel like you're dying, but you won't. She said you can overdose on heroin. She said, but alcohol, you could literally die just from not having the alcohol. So that's a great point.
Cool. But I'll be in touch with you tomorrow, Gary. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Love you, man.
Love you too. Bye.
I was hoping, we've been messaging for a couple of days. I was hoping he was going to call. That's so brave.
He's rad. I like him.
He's cool.
Yeah.
He's really cool. He's funny.
Yeah.
Alfred, that was a good point. Say that again about if someone's at home shaking, or say that again.
If you're trying to quit drinking on your own, if you say you've drank a number of years and you think you can detox on your own and you just are afraid to go to the ER or don't know what will happen or if you'll be embarrassed, just go. If you don't try to detox on your own, if you got the shakes, go. I mean, they're there to help. And my ego will say, no, I don't need to go. But one of my friends, he was in my home group, and he was stopped drinking for the 4th or 5th time. He died in DTs on his way to the hospital. So just something serious.
I was thinking about something else, Tiffany. You said in the very beginning about when I asked you about quitting, and you said how you affected other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if you said that, but there's like a saying that we, us with addictions or alcohol, drinking, that we are affecting a lot of other people and we may not even know it. So we may be in a relationship with someone, we may not. We may be affecting someone we see every day, maybe another teacher, a neighbor, coworkers, friends. And some people are enabling us or just putting up with us. And some people only know like a part of us.
Well, and as you continue to drink, what ends up happening is people either stop hanging out with you because you're drinking too much. And so what happens is you start finding the people that make you feel like you're okay with what you're doing, which is the crowd that's drinking at your level. And that just keeps growing as your tolerance gets higher.
Yeah. And it's okay to eat pills that fall on the floor in a bar. And that it's okay just to walk into people's houses and not knock on the door at 2:30 in the morning because so-and-so will just be awake and be there. And, you can take his car, their car. I would have people that were like, this crowd knows John's only had 2 DUIs. This crowd knows John doesn't have a license. This crowd knows that one day John is going to make it big because he's a nice guy. I had like different crowds of people that knew me in different ways. I don't want to go home anymore and like cry at 2 a.m. and like other people are like having fun getting drunk,
We have a comment in the section. A lady was saying that she's trying to save more than sober a day is scary and afraid to make the full leap. I had the same thoughts when I was going through the thoughts of quitting drinking. What if I need to drink later, or what would life be like without it? And I found that there's a life beyond alcohol that I can
A
live
second
with.
life. I feel like I've been given a second life.
Yeah.
In reference specifically to like and everything, just know that the first few days they're not going to be easy, but once you do it,
It's tough. Hello.
it'll get easier. Just keep
Hello.
going.
Hello.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So my friend Carla is on right now. She was actually the first person I called when I was a blubbering idiot and like admitted I had a problem. She actually got me to come on with you guys today.
Awesome.
Great.
Oh, awesome.
Mhm.
Where you at? Are you in Norfolk or Virginia? Or where you at?
I'm in Chesapeake, Virginia.
Oh, nice. Well, what's going on?
Well, it was I think last week it was when I called her, because I had family in town. And just a little bit of background. I remember the first drink I had, I was 13. It was at a friend's house, and her parents were wild, and they let us get super drunk, and I really liked the feeling. And my home life really wasn't that good, so the more I did it, the better I felt, and it just kept happening and happening, and I never stopped. And after I had talked to Carla last week, I sat and thought about it, and I'm like, I really don't think I've ever gone a day without trying to find it, or just not drinking to have fun, but just drinking to get absolutely hammered. And it's always 0 to 100. And it's never I can just have two with my friends. So I just really stopped going out with people and just drink at home, because no one can really judge me. So I had talked to Carla and tried to stop drinking altogether. And I noticed that very next morning around 11 a.m., my hands were shaking so bad. And I couldn't really talk to my aunt. It's like my words, I knew what I was trying to tell her, but my words weren't coming out. And I've never had that problem before. And it freaked me out. And so I had a beer and it went away. And the next morning I was like, all right, give this another shot. And that morning my whole body was shaking, and I just laid in the bed until I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I had another beer. So after that, it's been about a week, and I'm more afraid to stop, because I don't really know what will happen to me physically at this point. And I have two daughters. Me and my fiance had just split. I'm at my cousin's house right now. She knows. But this is putting a strain on our relationship now, because she's like, you said a week ago you stopped drinking, and all you do is, she's like, excuse my language, she's like, all you do is fuck around, and you've not made any changes yet. So that stressed me out even more, because I don't feel like she understands it. So it's just really stressing everybody out at this point. And I know I have to stop. Like,
So once you stop drinking, then there's like life staring you in the face. And like drinking like kind of like obliviates it, or makes it fuzzy, or makes it go away for a little bit. But like once you stop, like, and so other people won't understand. And once you stop, as Tiffany was saying, those first couple of days are like super hard.
Well, it's those withdrawal symptoms. It sounds like what you're dealing with. The uncontrollable shaking and like the not being able to talk. That's why I had to drink at 11 in the morning, because
And it's okay if you stop and start. Most people do. Like, it's okay if this takes a little while.
yeah.
That beginning is so hard. It's I don't thank you for calling in. We don't have it's just brave that it's just one step. It's brave that you called. You're talking about it.
Yeah.
I remember taking like showers with the lights on, like cold showers, because I was just like bored and didn't know what to do. And I'm like, I don't know. I usually just drink all the time. But not everyone will understand. Are you working?
So right now, no. I think that's another thing that has been super tough because pre-COVID, and that's how me and Carla met through work. So I was pastry chef, and finding work has been absolutely so hard. So I've just constantly just been on top of, breaking up and going through custody. I just like keep hitting brick walls. And what I noticed for myself the past 8 years too is I use this as a crutch. So when I'm not feeling very happy, it's easy to make myself feel better. I can go to the store. It's the easiest thing in the world to find. And it's just, right now between not working and I just feel like I'm floundering. I don't know. And being at home bored, it doesn't really give me something else to do. So I just fall back to it.
Well, I do know, Carla, if you pass on your email, your message. I know a lot of sober women, and I'm sure Tiffany wouldn't mind messaging with you as well.
Yeah, send me a DM. I'd love to.
You can friend any of us, and so, but thank you for calling and telling us where you are.
Yeah.
And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay. We don't have to do this on our own. We can get the medical attention we need. That allows us to stabilize so we can get sober. Because then it's like I gotta get treated to get the shit out of my system, get hydrated, get right physically, and then I'm able to move forward.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, take things, if you have to take things hour by hour, take them hour by hour. But that's why a lot of people talk about sobriety as a day at a time thing, because when you try to look at it in the big picture, especially when it's new, it can be too overwhelming. So just as much as you can, try to be just in the present moment with
overwhelming. Celebrate the little wins.
The most profound thing I heard somebody say in my first meeting was, you don't have to drink just today. And that was huge. That was a huge victory. That was like, wow, I could maybe do that. There's that, and I made a list of 10 good things I did each day, because I was like, my life is such a shithole. And then I was like, well, I emptied the litter box. Check, that's good. I washed a dish. That's good. And by the end of it, I had 10 or 12 things that, man, I did something that I wouldn't have done if I was drinking.
Yeah.
I do make a lot of lists. It's funny, Alfred. I make a lot of positive lists of things that I do. Like, I talked with a stranger today. I gassed up my car and didn't stress out about my debit card. Like I ate healthy. Like I make a list. I walked my dog. I do make those lists. And something I used to hear was like, time takes time. And I hated that. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I want to be where that guy is. But time takes time. And then they also said, like, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides.
Perfect.
Also, just keep in mind how much of a rock star you are. Like in my beginning stages of sobriety, I would have never had the guts to call into a sobriety show. I'm just extremely impressed, and I hope that me reminding you will help you see like how awesome you are and how your journey is. Just yourself, because you're just beginning. You don't have all the answers yet, but you will figure it out on the way. So
I'll be honest with you guys. I think the biggest reason why I keep bullshitting myself on just a day to stop is because I know for sure now that I've seen it and felt it, I'm probably going to have to go to the hospital. And this has been because everybody on the outside goes, I don't know how you do it. You're such a great woman. You just, So I feel like this is my dirty little secret that I've kept for so long. And, I feel like more people are going to find out what's really been going on with me. And it's just, I know it's selfish, but I'm like, God, like I said, I have kids. Their dad's going to wonder what's going on. And then all of it's going to come out, because I'm a pretty honest person. But that's the one thing I hate. I just don't want people to know that all this time, it's not really been me being great. I've just been medicating the shit out of myself to be functional enough, So you're
getting a little bit of an awareness right now. So I think you have the answer inside of you. All the things that you said, you're getting a little bit of an awareness. And the self-medication only works for so long.
Yeah.
And just remember, this is as good as it's going to get. It's just going to.
This is
Alcoholics in my type, we keep spiraling down, and
Yeah,
it gets worse and worse.
yeah, and we'll talk ourselves out of things, and it's called like the not yets. You know, like, well, I haven't been in a car accident yet, but my fiance kicked me out, and I'm living with a friend. You know, I haven't been in a wreck yet, but I lost my license. You know, we can always justify things.
Yep. Yeah.
I think you have a lot of the answers inside of you, and I know Tiffany said she would message with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling. You're so brave.
Thank you, guys.
Our pleasure. You're not alone.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
That's one thing I've seen. I've seen people come in and get the program and watch them, or they get sober and it's a 12-step fellowship and they get it. And I've seen people I've seen miracles. A guy was pulled over for a DUI. He was in the back seat of a cop car getting arrested. They let him go because they had like a triple super crime going on. They said, it's your lucky night. They left. He left out of the car, and then he still got a DUI, still lost everything. But he was in the back of the seat of the car, handcuffed, and they said, it's your lucky night, buddy. And they let him go because they had some super crime that was going on.
And he got another one like a couple of, yeah, I got out of one time and celebrated and got another one 8 days later. And my favorite is every cop that ever arrested me, they're like, John Wharton, you're the nicest guy we've ever arrested. I was like, well, thank you. I think I wrote the one guy a letter, you know, because I like to write letters. I'm a nice person. You know, he even brought it up, and he's like, John wrote me a letter. I'm like, of course, you know.
I think the like concept of rock bottom is interesting because everybody's looks so different. Like there's just like a level of justification that each person reaches when they're finally like, okay, I've had enough, and that looks so different for everybody. So yeah, I mean, like my rock bottom didn't involve any. Well, thankfully, because I didn't have a car toward the end when it was getting really bad, but didn't involve any DUIs or anything like that. But I was just an embarrassment to myself. I mean, I find everybody's rock bottoms interesting.
When you said something earlier than we just said that an embarrassment to yourself, it made me think of two things. I remember kind of being the butt of some people's jokes. Like I remember being at a football game one time, and someone like, I don't know, was making Bloody Marys, and they accidentally did like Jim Beam and tomato juice, and they're like, "Oh, John will drink it." I'm like, "Of course I will." So then I have like a Jim Beam and tomato juice and a Bloody Mary, and everyone's like, "John will drink it," you know. And I remember that just kind of became a thing.
That reminds me of a similar story, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Oh, like you said, I'll give it to John. He'll drink it. I used to order pizzas like late at night in Missouri because I'd drink and then get really hungry. And then this delivery guy would come, and when the doorbell came, I had to do the not drunk walk. It's like, I'm not drunk. I can pay. I am doing fine. And then I take it. And then we're eating in the restaurant, and I hear the guy walks by, and I see him. And then he's like, oh, there's that alcoholic dude.
Oh.
I was like, wah, wah, wah. So I didn't go there. I didn't go there for a while.
The early afternoon 7-Eleven cashier that was always there. So she always saw me getting like one of those box wines in the morning, like 11 or whenever you like literally 11. And like just
Man.
She never said anything, but I just like I will forever see her eyes just looking at me like,
yeah,
girl.
Yeah. Now that you've been away from it so long, like I can tell pretty strong if someone around me is like reeking or drinking or vibing in that way, because I've been away from it for so long.
Gosh, yeah, same.
You know. All right, I've really enjoyed this, and I feel like I want to talk about this stuff all night. Should we do this again?
Yeah, I would love to.
I would love to.
We have a couple more minutes left. If someone is still listening and wants to call in or send a message, or if you have something that's burning that you want to say, Tiffany or Alfred.
Just don't give up before the miracle happens. And reach out, look up a fellowship in the phone book, or call the hospital, or call a friend.
Yeah.
Or a clergy.
That vulnerability is scary, but you'll be surprised what kind of people end up in your life once you open up and are vulnerable with, yourself.
No, that's really good. Yeah. So I found out once I started being honest with some people, then they got honest with me, and I realized like, oh, everyone else is just like one step away of having this in their life, or has a brother or a sister, or has it. And pretty much anything I ever needed, I got. Hey, can I get a ride somewhere? Hey, can I, pretty much things just started coming my way. Yeah, and all of us is so cool. I want to say it's like all of us have done comedy and other vulnerable things on stage sober for years. And it still is scary a little bit, but I could never do anything that people here have seen me done if I was still drinking. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. I would have talked about it, but I couldn't have done it. It would not have been good.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I would like to do this again, and I think what we're going to do is maybe turn this audio and release it so people can listen to it. And we might play around with the name. Maybe we'll keep Sober Saturdays. But I would definitely like to do this again. I mean, I love all you guys, and thank you so much for just being part of this.
My pleasure.
So Matt said we'll be back the first Saturday of November.
We're calling it. We're going to do it the first Saturday of November, and I think that's actually November 1st. No. Shoot. Let me see if I can look it up. The 7th. November 7th.
Yeah, right.
Yep, is the 7th. Yeah, I'm definitely pumped about that. All right. And to our thousands of listeners and our fans, Alfred, leave us with something.
You can come. We got some shows coming up. We're doing the 666. It used to be the six actors, 6 directors, 6 stories. It used to be a stage production. This year it will be a series of short films. I'll be involved with that.
What's a mantra you've had today or the past couple of days, Alfred, for yourself that's been keeping you going?
Get up, dust myself off, and say, let's do it again.
Okay. How about you, Tiffany? Do you have something you run through your head?
Everything's temporary.
Oh, I like that.
I like to remind myself that the only reason why I know that I'm sad right now is because I've been happy before, which means I'm going to be happy again. Like all those, that kind of thing. Like even though today is hard, it's temporary. It's temporary difficulty. So.
Yeah, I like thinking about things like things are always changing, and that you can start over anytime you want.
Yes.
I think you can start over anytime you want. Awesome. Well, is there any other shows or anything else we need to talk about?
We're working on Neon Squares, a version of Hollywood Squares. We've got 4 episodes shot, 1 episode released. The second one's about to be released within the next week or so.
Okay, that's awesome. All right. Well, my name is John, and these are some of my best friends here. Tiffany.
Hi.
Alfred.
Thanks, John. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, I love this.
That's the momentum on those. All right, we're wrapping it up. I was trying to get dun 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 dun.
Sober Day Night Live? What is that?
And if you want to get a hold of us, try sobersaturdays@gmail.com.